Alright, we're talking to David Trevilyan, the man who built this D9 tractor. Can you give us a bit of a history?
Yeah. Well, when we first set out to make the tractor, we had a reason for it. We'd hooked up 250/20 John Deere tractors in tandem to pull a big land plane that we'd made, and it was struggling to pull it, so we levelled a couple of 100 acres only with it, and then we gave up and decided to build a real big tractor. And when we decided to build this tractor, Massey Ferguson four-wheel drives were just starting to come on the market, but otherwise we'd never seen a four-wheel drive. After that they brought Steigers and all that, but with this tractor we decided to use a Cat D9G engine as the basis.
Is that this one still?
Yeah,
Is it still the same engine?
Yep.
Yep.
And this engine could produce 1870 foot-pounds torque at 1330 revs, turbocharged and after-cooled and all that. And the other big engines that were around were like the big Cumminses and the V12 Detroit diesel two-strokes, and the Detroit ones could only produce 1200 foot-pounds torque. So we had tremendous power. And the first actual tractor we made, we used General Grant tank transmissions, and that huge torque in this engine just screwed all the teeth out of the crown wheels because they were going too slow. And so we had to build them with planetary hubs. And there was a big story written up in the Power Farming magazine disputing our tractor, that it wouldn't be a success originally by readers, and they proved to be correct. And so we changed from the tank diffs to these planetary hubs, which are off a big front end loader. This tractor was built and completed like this, originally like this in 1975, and we've used it all these years, and 2 years ago we recycled it and lowered the motor and put the motor 4 feet further forward so we could put a torque converter, the standard D9G torque converter, and we've put a John Deere air-conditioned cab on it with a 90-degree swing around cab.
Yep.
That you can, as I'm getting older, I won't crink my neck so much in watching the work that we're doing behind.
So we go up and have a look. Just thought it'd be interesting to take note. One of the workmen's put Tonka toy on it. It's such a big thing.
We'll open some of the inspection beds just for the fun of it, because no one else has got that.
Yeah, alrighty.
When you want to grease up the tail shaft, you just open this lid in the floor here, and there's the tail shaft down there running from the engine back. We can climb in there, and we got a little ordinary power take-off shaft running the hydraulic pump to work the drop box. It's all very practical and sensible, and the fact that it's run all these years without any trouble. A lot of my contemporary farmer friends trade in their big tractors every few years. Well, we have no intention of trading this, because this tractor will never wear out. You just replace what's faulty. There's the Westinghouse air compressor. There's the alternator for the 12-volt system for the cab. There's the air conditioning compressor. That pump down there is the one that works the drop box, just with the belt coupling, tyre coupling. But until we put that tyre coupling on, we always had that chopping out. We could never mount it correctly. It's true enough. The tyre coupling does the job. You move along that tail shaft up there. There's the bring it back now. Here's the compressed air tank here. So this here air supply we use for the air brakes, but we also tap into there for pumping up tyres and using a rattle gun to take wheels off machinery up the paddock.
Yep.
Any work we do up there. This is the air conditioning here, 12 volts.
Yep. So we're going to the cab now. Alright, so this is a...
Cab's not very fancy, the seat wants recovering.
Yeah, okay, let's not look at the aesthetic part. Yeah,
They fix it up there, the other tractor broke up.
Alright, so how does this work then? What's this?
Sit on the seat.
What's this here?
This here. A lot of people criticise us for not using a steering wheel, but we've never had steering wheels on any of our equipment. This is left and right steer very quickly, and this is left and right feather steer. So it's a four-way switch, and you can go half of each if you wish.
Yep.
There's the remote hydraulics here.
Yep. And what are these buttons here?
These are the remotes to work the 4 remote switches to work the 4 hydraulic remotes at the rear. You undo this little screw here and you roll this over, and these 3 switches come to the top, and they work the 3 functions of that big scoop over there.
Okay.
And this here,
functions of these scoops here.
that one with the yellow tarp on it, and that's covering the electronic equipment, which is these 3 switches. That's the on that scoop. This switch here, it turns the ignition on the engine on that scoop. When it's hooked up, that light comes on because the alternator light's shining, and then you press the button and the engine starts, and there's the oil pressure comes up. And as soon as you've finished working the scoop, you just come back there and you stop the engine with that, and then let it come back to centre. And there's the water temperature of the engine on the scoop. Yep. We only run the scoop engine for about a minute while we fill it, and then again when we empty it. This here switch is for the crane. See the crane going down? That's the crane on the tractor.
Yep,
Being an ex-front end loader chassis, we've got the original, one of the original boom rams down there to work that crane. This crane will lift about 25 tonne. The rest of it's straightforward. The glow switch here, you've got an option of spring return on the switch that side, and this side it can be set there. That's the glow light telling you you're glowing the engine, ready to start it. Yep. And that's all very modern to do that.
Yep, that's cool. So did you go through fuel capacity?
Well, the engine is using around about 13 gallons an hour. When it wasn't real good order years ago, it was 15 an hour, but when we reconditioned it all, it was 13 gallons an hour. And our friends Tiger Steigers were using up to 25 gallons per hour. Wow. And this has got more power than those. Even though it's only 385 horsepower, it's strong Caterpillar horsepower, whereas the others work on revs and stuff, and as I said before, we got 1870 foot-pounds torque as against 1200 foot-pounds torque in the V12 Jimmies. Yep. So that's the torque is where the pull comes.
That's great. Actually. Thank you very much.